Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I know everybody's been a little bit concerned about the market, so I wanted to do a quick video to kind of show everybody where we're at and how I feel that things are probably going to go up. I feel pretty confident about that. So we'll take a look at Bitcoin first, and then we'll go into a few other things. But aside from that, there are a few coins that you can get into right now that are already bullish, and I'll show you a few of those as well. So let's take a look real quick at what this is the oldest Bitcoin chart that you can find on Tradingview. So it has the most history to it, but it's a combination of all of the Bitcoin prices across all exchanges. So this gives us the best view of what it looks like historically. And we can see, let me just take some of these things off here. What we want to look at is the EMA trend lines here. I'll take a few of these. So just pay attention to these EMA lines here. This is the 200, this lower one. This next one up is the 100. The yellow one's the 50, and the darker blue one is the 20. So the 20 is the fastest moving line of all of these, and these are exponential in nature, so they react more quickly. They can give you a better idea what the market's doing. And we're here on a 1 day, so we can feel real confident about where everything's at. We're not on a short time frame where things are more volatile. We get a really clear view of what the market is doing. So as long as we're underneath all of these lines right here, especially the 200, we're bearish. But we're seeing that we found a bottom here, and we're starting to creep up back towards these EMA lines. And we may not break right away. You know, it may come up and reject once and kind of play around here. I mean, I could see us even doing this for another month, who knows, just kind of bouncing around in here. And some people have talked about a wick-off pattern playing out, and that could be true. You know, we could just kind of do something like this, where we just bounce around like that for a little bit, and it makes a triangle eventually and takes off. And there is the alternate view, of course, that if we break down from this line, come through it, come back up and test it, we could come down to like 24,000. But so far I feel more confident that we're going to go up. I'm about 60% confident that we're more likely to go up than down. It just really depends on how we react once we get back up here to these EMA lines. So that's very important. We'll keep an eye on that. And that actually brings me to a good point. I am doing some ideas on Tradingview. So here's one for Kick, for example, which I'll show in just a minute. I'm going to provide a link below that you can click on at the end of this video, and you can follow me on there. I've got all of the steps that you can take to follow this exact trade. I have many coins, like 20 coins already, and it'll show you things like engineering robo, trade alerts and stuff like that you can set. And so if you get two, what we're looking for, by the way, on engineering robo, on this indicator specifically, if you get two buy signals like this, then that's a good time to buy. If you get two sell signals like this, that's a good time to sell. So right now we have one buy signal for Kick. If we get another buy signal, then that's another good entry point. Or you can wait. You know, there's some other TA indicators here that we can look at that I drew, like this downtrend line, these horizontal support and resistance lines. So if we were to come back down to this support line, that would be a very good buy as well, as long as it held. You know, if it bounced up from here, you would just go ahead and buy there. If it broke down, you would wait to see if it was going to come down to this next line. So I'll provide that link. I think you'll really enjoy getting to follow those on Tradingview, because if there's a coin that you like, say DGB for example, all you have to do is hit this play button each day, and it will update the pricing information. And then you can come down here and just look at the text and see what you should do in that instance. So we'll talk about that a little bit here in a minute. First, I want to go over just the overall market sentiment, this was very good that BTC broke over this downtrend line here, this temporary downtrend line. So we were just going sideways. It didn't break down, it broke up. So we'll just have to see what happens here, because it is at a resistance point. You can see in the past this was a resistance point recently. So if we break above that, especially if we break above either of these EMA lines here, that's a very good sign. And over here on the BTC Dominance, if you're in altcoins, this is a very good sign for you as well. This isn't necessarily going to tell you that BTC is doing bad if BTC Dominance is down. It just means that the altcoins have a little bit more momentum right now than BTC does in the overall market. So we can see that the dominance is below all of the EMA lines. We want that to continue to happen if we're an altcoin holder. Of course, if you're in Bitcoin, you would prefer that this go up, because that means Bitcoin is taking over dominance of the market again. So we're good to see this go down if we're in altcoins. And then this is the altcoin market cap. And we can see it's had a healthy climb. Anytime you're above like the 200 MA, 100 MA, this is a line called the McGinley dynamic. And it's a combination of multiple, here, I can actually look it up. I forgot what it was exactly. It's a combination of multiple formulas. Find what that is. Okay, so as long as this is above this line right here, you can just think of it like an uptrend line. As long as it's above this, then you're good to continue to hold. If it falls below it, then you probably want to look at selling, and we'll take a look at an example of this. We'll go back here. Okay, so this was back at the March drop, I believe. Yeah, the March drop. And we will get rid of the EMA lines, and we'll just look at this for a second. So right here, where we broke down through it, you know, we had all of this upward momentum, and then once we broke through, this was a good time to sell. None of us knew that this was coming. I mean, this was completely caught everybody by surprise, this March drop. But if you would have been using this line, this McGinley dynamic, then you would have been able to get out of the market and save yourself whatever that is, 50%. And what you do to add that one, I believe it's on, yeah, there it is right there. So if you go to your indicators in TradingView, just click on indicators here, type in McGinley, McGinley, and it's the first one there. And you can just follow along on your own chart if you want. So it's real similar to drawing an uptrend line. Like if you were really good at TA and understood it, and you had drawn your uptrend line like this, where it was holding. So this takes a combination of EMAs and other factors. You can look it up on Investopedia, but it makes it easier just to have one line sometimes for a longer term trend, or you can have your EMAs on as well for shorter trends. So as we can see, the altcoin market cap, it's looking like it's getting ready to break bullish again. So if it breaks over these two lines, and it's actually over this one. Well, it's actually over the 100. So the 20 and 50, it still needs to break over. And once it does that, then we're bullish again. And a good example of that would be kind of right in here. You can see we broke down below it, and then once it got back above the 50 and the 20, we took off. So that's what we're looking for right now. We want to get confirmation before we buy back in. So if you're out of the market right now, let's just wait on this. Let's see if the altcoin market cap breaks back above. But in the meantime, there are good opportunities in other coins. There's coins that have been consolidating for a while that you could pick up right now for cheap. One of those examples is TFUEL. You can see here that I drew some trend lines. This was a major resistance line. This is a downtrend line from this peak down to here where it was having trouble breaking through, and we broke through recently. And this is our long-term uptrend line here, this blue line. And you can see this is a good example of what it looks like when you're bullish, because we're above all the EMA lines here. There's the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200. And what these are, if you're thinking of EMAs, moving averages, just the general ones, the regular ones, then what those are, they're an average of the price action over that many days. So if it's the 20, it's the average price action for 20 days. The exponential has a little bit more algorithmic function to it. It reacts to the market more quickly, so you can make decisions more quickly. So the two that you can add there are, you can type in moving average and add that one, or you can do, so there's moving average and here's moving average exponential. And so once we broke above both of these, that was a real good buying opportunity. I'll bring in this engineering robo indicator package just to show you what it looks like with that added as well. Because then we get even more confirmation. That covers that one up. Okay, so you can see the buy for right there. There's a buy for signal saying it's ready to buy, but what we want is 2 buy signals. And the reason why I'm showing that one first is because this other one covers it up. So if I add the buy 2 signal, now you've got 2 that are showing up in the same spot. So what we would wait on, this is actually a perfect setup, because this is both using this indicator and it's using technical analysis. So what we did is we broke over this horizontal resistance line and we closed above it. And right now we have another candle that's being worked on. So if this candle here closes above, then we're good to go ahead and buy. And we have to watch out for this because sometimes it is a fake out. You know, it could just fake out and come back down. We don't know. Here's a good example of that. It broke above, came back down. Right here, broke above, came back down. This is a much more powerful move, so there's a good chance it'll stay above. But main thing is, if we come down to this support line, that's another good buying opportunity. So if it looks something like this, we come down to here, and then we bounce off of it. That would be a perfect, technically sound buying opportunity. But on the other hand, if we just fall through it and close below, then we would want to short it. This would be a good shorting opportunity. But what that looks like is you would want a full candle to close below. So this entire candle would close below, and then you would enter on this one. And the thought being that it would continue down at least to here, and then it might bounce back up. But that would be a very good shorting opportunity if you were going to short a coin like this. I'm not suggesting that to anybody. This isn't financial advice. Shorting is very risky. You need experience to do it. If you are a new investor, I highly recommend sticking to something like a daily chart because it's more reliable, and then you just take your buy when it gets near a support level. If it breaks down below, you get rid of it and you wait for the next support level. And so you would buy at this one. It's a very simple strategy. And one more strategy that I think every new investor could easily adopt is this one right here. I'll show you how to do it. So first you want to go to your indicators. You look up moving average, and you'll actually add 2 of them. So click it twice, This one, you want to click the little cog wheel up here, go to the length, put in 20. And then on the second one here, same thing, click the cog, put in 50, and hit OK. You might have to change the color here. It starts out a weird color. And it helps to increase the size of the line as well. You can go down here and increase that size so you can see it better. All right. The blue line is our fast moving indicator. The yellow line is our slow moving indicator. It's more smooth because there's more days involved. So this is the average 20 days price action, this blue one. This is the average 50 days, this yellow one. And here's a very, very easy strategy. Let's say that you purchase this coin, Theta Fuel. Let's say you purchased it down here. What you're looking for is for this blue, see this blue line here? You want it to cross above the slow line, the 50 line. So here's the 20 EMA crossing over and above the 50 EMA. This is a buy. You buy it right here. And then it's very simple. All you do is you just sell whenever the blue crosses below the yellow. And this is all based on the colors I use, by the way, so it's not going to be the same if it's on your chart if you have different colors. Just remember that this one here, the fast one, is called the 20 EMA. It's this one here. And the yellow one is called the 50. So 20 EMA, 50 EMA. The 20 crossing above the 50 is a buy. We'll type that there. Buy here. And now we're going all the way up because we're watching it. It still hasn't crossed back over the yellow. We keep going up. Still hasn't crossed. Right here is where it crosses. 20 crosses below the 50. You sell here. So we can put a little thing here, sell here. Put a circle. Very simple. It's just called a moving average cross, and I'll show you if you were using something like an indicator package like Engineering Robo. You can actually bring that up. I believe it's the crossover signals. Yeah. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. I know it's hard to see. Okay. I'll zoom in here. So here was where we found it. We said we're gonna sell right there because it crossed below. We'll look right there. We had what's called a death cross. They call this a death cross whenever the fast, the 20, is crossing over the 50. And it can be used for other ones like, say you were watching the 100 MA and it crossed below the 200 MA. Same thing. So we have a cross, that's our sell signal. With Engineering Robo, you want 2 sell signals, so there's our 2. So we got our confirmation here. And it did go back up, and that's fine. It rejected at this trend line, and it went further down. And you got a couple different signals here, like it kind of played around here, crossed over, crossed back down. So it looks like Engineering Robo is telling us right now, actually, that Theta Fuel is a good buy because we have a buy for signal and we have what's called a golden cross. And a golden cross is when the fast indicator crosses above the slow indicator. So this indicator for Engineering Robo must be a faster one. It may be something like a 10 crossing over a 20 or 15 crossing over a 30, something like that. But this is a good sign. So if you want to, you can wait till this candle closes today. We've got about 6 hours until this one closes for the end of the day. As long as we're above this support line, which this is now support, we're going to consider this support until it breaks again, this yellow line. So as long as it holds this today, this is a good indicator that you can go ahead and purchase T-Fuel. And you don't have to put everything in right now. You know, if you have a certain amount that you've been waiting to put in, maybe just put 50% in and then see how it reacts over the next couple of days. You may get another buying opportunity lower. So, you know, ladder in, we call that laddering in. You might buy at this line, buy at support. If it comes down, so it comes down to here, you buy. And then let's say it goes up and breaks this line right here where it wicked up. You could buy another one right there. We'll call that buy at resistance break. So there's a lot of different strategies you can use. I mean, like we said, if it came down to here, we also consider that support because that's the long-term uptrend line. So this would be a great buy. And you can see right here why that is, because we came down and wicked to that exactly. So if it was to do that again, I would strongly recommend considering a buy there, not financial advice. But let's just say, for instance, it didn't hold that line and went down. Well, you'd be completely out at that point. I wouldn't even touch this coin if that were to happen. Not saying that it will. All right, so we'll jump over to, what are we looking at, Kick. Both of these, by the way, if you look on the link that I'm going to post below to my Tradingview, I have Kick on there. Here's the Kick one. You just hit play each day. It'll show you what we're doing. And you have all your instructions down here that you can use. And then, I mean, you can see I've got a lot on there. Here's one for MTV. Here's BTT. Here's VET. Here's one for DGB, Zap, Gala. So I'm adding more and more each day, so you can kind of keep track of it. If you happen to put one down in the comment that you would like me to do a chart on, I can do that. I can't promise that I'll get to it right away, but I will try to get to it as soon as I can. I'm just doing as many as I can each day and showing everybody what they can watch for as we get ready to start this next bull move up. And it is coming. I absolutely believe that we're in a bull market. We are short-term bearish in some coins, actually most of them, but we are going to go back up, I do believe. What was I looking at? The other one was, oh yeah, T-Fuel. So T-Fuel is on there as well. You just hit the play button. Instructions I have on there right now is we're short-term bearish, and that was actually before this move above. So I was saying we're short-term bearish. At that time, it was still below this downtrend line. Long-term, we're bullish because we're above this long-term blue uptrend line. And the instructions are continue to hold until blue uptrend line breaks down. That would be this long one. And you'll buy when the candle open and closes above the current resistance, or when Engineering Robo gives 2 buy signals. So you get to see all the Engineering Robo signals here. If we close above this yellow line, the support line, or a resistance line at one time, now it's support. That's a good sign. That's another buy like we talked about. And you would sell if it opens and closes below the blue uptrend line, or if Engineering Robo gives 2 sell signals. So if it closes below this, we would be completely out, because who knows? I mean, it could just come all the way down to here. I mean, it could just come down to here. We don't know. Maybe just at this shoulder right here. It may just come down to 11, 15, something like that. So we're hoping it breaks back up, but we'll see. We have to consider both scenarios. We can't always take the sunny outlook. All right, so this is kick. And I'm gonna get rid of these two EMA or EMA lines that we talked about. We'll bring these back up. All right. One thing I want to show real quick is, here's how powerful this can be. When we're using technical analysis plus an indicator package like this one. We came up here on kick to this resistance line, and we have what's a double top. It's called a double top because it came up and then it tried to come back up again and it rejected both times. So this is very strong resistance right now. And when this happened, if we were holding kick and we received these two sell signals right here, we would have known that we could have gotten out right here, which would have been 00049. And if you had done that, then it would have saved you about 74%. Plus it saves you all this time. I mean, in my mind, that's more important than anything, because you can hold a coin forever and eventually make a good profit off of it. But if you can move your profits somewhere else in the meantime, like if we would have gone from here to where it has this super buy, that would have been 31 days. We could have been in a different coin, still making profit, and then we could have gotten back in this one when it was time. So we got two buy signals here, it went up. We didn't receive another sell signal, so we would have just held it. And now we're getting another strong buy signal. So we're feeling pretty good about it. We'll have to see. It could come back down and retest this downtrend line, and that would still be healthy. It's no big deal. I'd like to see it hold this support line, of course, or especially this one at the very least, because if it breaks below this, that's not good. But I do feel pretty good about this coin long term. This was good to see it break over this downtrend line. It's very strong. So we'll just have to see what happens with it. And if you look at your EMA, here's your EMA trend lines. We were talking about this. It's above all of them right now. That's very bullish. And let's see, what else can we talk about? We can talk about the dollar. So DXY sometimes is important. It's not just because the DXY, the dollar index, is going down doesn't mean that Bitcoin's always going to go up. Some people think that, and I'll give you a good example. So here's a pretty good drop for, let's see, this is the 6th of April. The dollar just took a plunge for, I don't know, a couple of months anyway. If we go over here and we look at Bitcoin for the same date, April 6th, that would have been back here. Okay, here's April 6th. You can see, yeah, Bitcoin went up a little bit, but overall we were topped out. We weren't going anywhere. In fact, you know, Bitcoin went down the same as the dollar index did. So sometimes there's just no correlation with it at all. It is good to look at sometimes. We'll look at an example here where it did drop a lot and it was beneficial. So here's a very big drop. This was 26th of May. Where are we at here? Yeah, I mean, it didn't bounce right away, but we can see that it did. Actually, am I even looking at the right one? Maybe that was a completely different date I chose. Oh, that's 2020. Sorry about that. Yep, 26th of May 2020. Okay. Yeah, so we're way back here. I was confusing myself. Okay, so we did go sideways for a little bit, but once we consolidated for a while, that dollar drop created this entire move for Bitcoin. And of course the altcoins followed it as well. What is this, October 2020? We could look at something like, look at XLM. Yeah, so here's October, November. The overall move has been very strong for something like XLM. And we could look at the altcoin market cap, same thing. Here's October, November. We just blasted off all the way to May 12th. And so if we go back to this one for the dollar, yeah, so it rebounded some, but this big move, if you were to put these side by side, for the altcoin versus the dollar, one would look like this, and the other one would look like this. So pretty much direct correlation, but that doesn't mean it's always going to work that way. It takes a pretty big move by the dollar to move everything that much. So we'll see what happens, but if it breaks below this line, if we get a break below that for the dollar, then that could signal another big move by the market, both for BTC and the altcoins. And I fully expect that. It's going to happen at some point. We're not done with this market just yet. People think it's over. It's definitely not over in my mind. And then Bitcoin dominance, we want to see that continue to drop as well. And one thing we can look at is this. If you look back in history, I'll put a couple horizontal lines here. These are major areas of support. So I fully expect that we're going to do something like this very soon. We'll at least come down to here. And when this happens and it bounces off of that, which will likely happen, you might see another dip in the alts, but I would expect that we're going to see a good move. We'll go back to BTC real quick. We're kind of expecting something like this to happen. Let's say we break these two EMA lines. We're going to go up to about 42, might dip again. And this is the bullish scenario, of course. And then we'll go up to about 50K and might see another dip at that point. And then we really don't know what's going to happen once this happens. I mean, we could come back down to here, bounce one more time, and dip down to 24K. And the other scenario is a much more bullish one, up, down, up, here, and then all the way back up to this strong resistance line. We're not going to break this one first time for sure. There's just way too much going on right there. So here's the bullish scenario, here's the bearish scenario. Either way, I feel like we're going to go up. And we're going to test the 42K level, 50K level, and we'll see what happens once we get up there. So that's all I have for you today, guys. I'm going to add those links below, the Tradingview link, and we also have our private member group you can check out if you want. I'll put that down below. We do trading signals every day. We watch the market for you and try to get you out near the tops, try to get you in near the bottoms. So if you're interested in that at all, check us out. And y'all have a good day. Thank you.